welcome back to Shemsuniverse. So today, guys, we're going to discuss the sun in the 12 different astrological houses. So the sun is where we have the need to feel special. It's where our ego, where our conscious brain energy really directs. So this is really, really important to know, as it brings up a lot of strengths that we may have in regards to career, occupation, regards to where our mindset naturally is, our passion. But it also has some drawbacks as long as with weaknesses. It's where we're going to be sensitive to criticism. It's where we're going to have certain vulnerabilities that we can improve upon. All right, so let's get right into it. So if you have the sun in the first house, this means that you're somebody who's a very self-initiating person. It means you're an innovator. It means you're somebody who really wants to leave that mark on the world. So this comes very naturally if you have the sun in this house. The thing about this is you might be a little bit too pushy with other people, and people might find you a bit hard to deal with, especially when you're on your purpose and you're really trying to get things done and towards leading your legacy. So you just want to watch out for just being a little bit too overzealous when it comes to getting across your purpose. Make sure that it's more of an internal thing than external, meaning you're just doing these things for yourself and your own self-image, but not for the image that other people are going to perceive of you. But a lot of the times in the first house, people have a certain image that they want to be portrayed as to the public, and that's where their weakness is going to lie. What you want to do is just make sure everything that you're doing is for yourself, and not just simply for the public. For the second house is governed by Taurus. This one is really about financial security. If your sun sign lies there, your sun, I should say, lies there, then what you're going to have is somebody who really looks at financial security as extremely important. You guys are going to really want to expand on your finances, make sure that you have a good solid foundation, and this can come across as just being very materialistic, kind of possessive, and you just want to watch out for those things. What you ultimately want to do is make sure that you do understand the material side of life, but don't neglect the spiritual and the emotional side of life. What the vulnerability and the drawback here is that in your acquisition of money, you may lose friendships and family in the process. So just watch out for that and always try to maintain balance. For the sun in the third house, this really goes towards intellect. This is about the Gemini, of course, the Gemini's house. If you have the sun there, that means that you're going to really prioritize friendships, connections, and experience. You guys want to learn things quickly. People with the sun in the third house are the ones that usually move out quite quickly, get in relationships quite quickly. It's very fast. And what can happen here is you guys may end up doing things at such a fast pace they end up crashing at an early stage as well. The race is never for the swift, but for who can endure. It's not for the rabbit, it's more so for the turtle. You want to still take time, but you want to have that balance in between there. I've never really liked the saying of the hare and the tortoise, just because you want to have kind of both their traits. You want to be kind of sort of swift and agile like that rabbit, but you still want to have the contentment and the pace and the consistency of the turtle. For Geminis, I really think that this matters a lot. When you have the sun in the third house, it matters a lot because you want to make sure you're not moving too quickly to the point where you're not getting anything done and you're just scattering your energies. All right. For the fourth house, if you have the sun there, that means you're going to prioritize family and relationships a lot. So you're going to sort of have like a tabooed sort of family where you want to keep up a certain tradition, something that's been inherited. You're going to want to really keep that within the family. Your vulnerability is going to lie there as well, because if your interests fall outside of that, your career, anything of that sort, whether you have a relationship with somebody else like your spouse, if it contradicts what your family's ideology of an ideal relationship is or an ideal career, this can lead to problems for you. So what you want to do is, if you have the sun in that house, is make sure that you have a balance between what your self is, meaning your self-image is very important, but also make sure that you don't let your family's principles and boundaries cross over yours. So always just make sure that you have that line, so that way you're able to have a respectable relationship with your family, but also have a more respectful relationship with yourself. Because the thing about it is, our families can only give us so much, but who we are as a person, who we are as the spirit on this journey, is going to more so pertain to us ourselves. So you just want to make sure that you're not overextending and then not really feeling fulfillment because you're meeting the expectations of your family and not yourself. The next one is the ascension of the sun, which is in Leo, the fifth house. So this is really about like performing arts, writing, traveling. It really is good in the fifth house, just because it gives the sense of the ascension of the sun. It gets to really be the center of attention. People with sun in the fifth house naturally get quite famous. They're very good at performing. They're very good on camera. The drawback to this is that this can lead to certain narcissistic traits, and this can also lead to not really quite understanding the difference between their self-image and what's actually reality. The thing about it is you guys may have this image of yourself of being this famous rich person, and then anything that contradicts that, even if it is reality, you're going to kind of neglect it and more so just want to throw it away. So what you want to do is just make sure that you understand yourself without the fame, without the money, without these things, all the attention, and still find fulfillment within yourself as well. For the sun in the sixth house, means you want to be of service to other people more so. It's the Virgo house. This has a lot to do with really just having to have a good job, at least always getting something that where you're responsible, you're being paid. People in the sixth house, their main detriment is that if they don't have a job, they'll feel that they feel as if they're useless, and that can be harsh because they'll feel like they need to have this job, they need to be of service to other people, whether that be family, friends, in order to feel that sense of fulfillment. But the number one thing you do is be of service to yourself by having good fitness routines, a good diet, and then your job and relationships need to come after that. The mistake that people with the sun in the sixth house make is that they want to put other people and other circumstances before themselves. So just make sure, like what I said with the fourth house, that your boundaries are very clear and that you're not contradicting yourself when you're just fulfilling the needs of other people. All right. For sun in the seventh house, this deals a lot with like one-on-one relationships. It's house of Libra, of course. So what happens here is this can be a bit intense for the sun just because the sun is more so about oneself, and this leads more so to two. It's always about relationships, and Libra really represents that balance. It's good for Saturn ascends here, but the sun not so much. So what you want to do is make sure that you are doing things for yourself, and you need to find a partner that's going to complement you. The most important thing I can say is that people with sun in the seventh house are going to obsess over relationships and how good their relationships are with especially their spouse, but with their family and other people. But you want to make sure that your needs are being fulfilled and that people are complementary to your life. And anybody that is not complementary to your life is not providing you with balance, which is the whole key to the Libra. So if they're not providing you with that said balance, then they need to be cut off so that balance can then be restored. All right? Sun in the eighth house now, guys. This is a very, very important one. This is this house of Scorpio. With sun in the eighth house, what happens is there's going to be a major transformation that's going to undertake within you. And it might be spiritual, but it might just simply be physical, emotional, psychological. But it's not going to be a just graze over type of thing. It's going to be very, very deep. And what happens is you guys have this need to really transform to find your success. Meaning you might have bad habits, you might have a bad, whether that be thinking habits, physical habits, substance abuse. There's going to be something to cut off and replace with something better, whether that be your economic like ways that you're getting your money, whether that be the habits that you have when it comes to working out. If you're obese, if you're anorexic, there's going to be something extreme that you're going to have to change in order to live the happy, fulfilling life that you want. The vulnerability here is not to put too much pressure on yourself for that transformation, but to let it happen naturally as you see fit. So wherever you see the need for improvement, which is what you guys obsess over, improve in that area. People with sun in the eighth house are very, very successful typically because they understand that they need to always become better, and they have a very self-actualizing prophecy that they go by. And when they have this, they tend to achieve great deals of success through that. But it's through the darkness and it's through a lot of sort of tussles. But if you're able to actually understand why the sun is in that eighth house, understand that you need to get that transformation, then you will have a good time with it and you will see the pinnacle of success. It's a very highly successful sign to have. With sun in the ninth house, it's quite short-lived. It's the Sagittarius. It's happy-go-lucky. This is what I have. It's more about the spiritual journey. It's really about figuring out different avenues of ideologies, exactly what I do, really obsessing over different religions, different dialects, and then coming to your own conclusions regarding them, which is pretty much what I do. The vulnerability here is that we may be very sensitive to the criticism we receive from others through our belief systems. What we have to do is understand that our internal belief system matters more than what other people think, and understand that everybody's going to have their own way of viewing things. And once you can accept people, you then can learn more from them. So that's how you optimize that energy. If you're unable to accept other people for what they believe, then you're always going to be held back by your own self-limiting beliefs that you hold. The next one would be the sun in the 10th house, which is, of course, the house run by Capricorn. This leads to a lot of political figures, real estate tycoons, This is the house of Saturn, the house of Capricorn. This is very, very powerful. This is where the career and profession become the biggest present in our lives. This is somebody that may have matured very, very quickly and knew exactly what they wanted. They're the person in elementary school that was saying, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be an arbitrator, I want to be a real estate tycoon, I want to do this, do that, be a mogul, be recognized for this, leave a legacy. This is really, really powerful to have there. When you have the sun in that 10th house, that just means that you're able to really understand where you are in the hierarchy of the world, and you want to really surpass that through your sheer willpower. And you probably will, just because you guys have such a clear vision of what you need to have. As long as you're able to visualize the concept that you want, set some predetermined plans that you're willing to stick to and have discipline, you're going to achieve the results. Once the competency is there, everything else will come through after that competent action takes place. All right. The sun in the 11th house means somebody who's very adaptable. It's the house of Aquarius. You guys are able to be social reformers. Politics is definitely in your avenue as well. What happens is you guys are like the radicals, the people that could really bring forth a different viewpoint, a different perspective to life. And you guys are able to really, really push your agenda, push your belief systems with other people. And that's a very good thing to have. You can use that for sales and marketing and advertising as well. Even anything to do with psychological careers. Because you guys are able to have such a strong mind and understand that the world isn't what we just take it as, it's not at face value. Because you have that ability, you guys are able to really look past that and bring people to a different viewpoint and make people look at things from outside the box. You guys can adapt to any sort of social setting. You guys can go anywhere in the world and be successful. So really take that into consideration. The only vulnerability you guys have is being a little bit eccentric. If you don't control your strong mind, it can lead to substance abuse and different things in that category. So just make sure that you are always directing your mind towards doing productive things that are going to be constructive towards your life. As long as that's there, then your adaptation abilities, your abilities to persuade other people will make you a lot of money. Last one would be sun in the 12th. When we have the sun in the 12th house, this is kind of the worst house to have it in. I'm sorry for anybody that does have it there. There is obviously ways to use this correctly, but what it means is that you're going to be more so towards the spiritual side of life, the internal, and how you feel. You're really in touch with your emotional body. It's the house of Pisces. So this is really the house of completion. The sun is all about the ego, the self, the understanding, how you fall in the world and your personality. But when you have the sun in the 12th house, it's like you're understanding that your personality, our egos are an illusion. And you get to that sort of Zen tranquility. That's good in the spiritual world. That's good for meditation. That's good for that relaxation that every human needs to understand where they fall in reality. But when it comes to the material world, to possessions, to hierarchies, different things like that, that's where the detriment comes in, because you guys may view life from more of an occult sort of perspective, that your physical, tangible perspective might lack balance. So you might over obsess over the spiritual concepts of life and then neglect your finances, neglect things like personal hygiene, neglect things such as just learning how to adapt to the world, having social connections. Because you're so stuck within yourself, you don't actually expand. What you want to do is share your ideas, share what's going on inside of you, whether that be through your emotional body, through your psychological. And then once you're able to actually understand the concepts that's happening inside of you, and you're able to communicate them and then figure out different friendship groups that reflect your same belief systems, you'll then have a much better life and be able to transcend both in the material and the spiritual realm. All right, so that should conclude all 12 of the houses, guys. If you guys do have any questions regarding any of them whatsoever, just please let me know in the comments. Aside from that, guys, please like, subscribe, holla me. That's it for today, guys. Peace.